What it do, boo? It's your boy. Not only do I love fighting and cop videos, but I love me some nerd shit, bro.
Nerd.
So, we're gonna watch a little bit more fighting, but it's gonna be a lot more nerdy, because we're gonna be watching some death battle. I ain't gonna do the whole backstory thing, because if you're interested in these characters, you already know Shigaraki and Mahito. So we're gonna skip the backstory, get straight to the stats, and then go straight to the fight. We ain't got time for all this.
Tenko Shimura was just a sweet, shy boy who loved the only open hand he found.
Decay. It does what it says on the tin.
That's his power. Shit, it takes down cities, bro. He's city
with
level.
all 5 fingers turns to dust. The perfect power for someone who just wants to destroy. Pretty menacing.
That's cap already. They already don't know what they're talking about, bro. Applied through hands and feet. It's only applied through hands. Disintegrate energy. I don't know that. Fear aura.
If
I don't know
not
what
for
the fuck that
dorky ass costume. I get it. Hands are his thing.
Honestly, I used to fucking love this shit when I was a kid. But then they started doing shit wrong, bro. Like, they'll be like, oh, he has the power to manipulate time and this, that, and the third. And all of a sudden, they'll give this dude this random stat like, oh, the time manipulation doesn't work for him because one time they froze time for a little bit, this, that, and the third. So technically, and it's like, y'all ain't even sticking to the straight facts that y'all just said. Y'all revamping it around to make the most popular guy win. Now let's see. Are they gonna be realistic with this one? Realistic? Or are they gonna make up some bullshit? Because technically, if you watch JJK, if you don't have cursed energy, he should not be able to touch up on Mahito. Like, yes, he has a quirk, but that's a whole different power system. But we gonna see what they're gonna do and how they're gonna make it, like, for him to be able to touch him.
They just look so dumb and fake.
Oh, those aren't prosthetics. Those are real hands from his family that he killed, attached to his face, and explicitly commanded to be left there by his mentor so that he would never forget.
They got the
his
biggest
rage.
psychopaths visit each other, which is pretty cool.
While his use of decay started off relatively weak, it rapidly increased in power and range as Shigaraki came into his own.
Decay isn't even limited to whatever he's touching. Anything that touches something he's decaying also
in the
decays.
anime, bro,
spreading like an all-consuming
as
miasma.
soon as you see him touch the floor, everybody just starts disintegrating, bro. That's a crazy
entire
moment.
city.
If decay
You're like,
reaches you,
damn.
your only hope is to
You already got
isolate the
OP.
body
How are you
part that
gonna
is
touch up
disintegrating
armor?
before it gets to something vital.
After years of training with the greatest supervillain of all time, Shigaraki was finally put in charge of his own team. One hero,
let me
a
see.
leader, quick-tempered, short-sighted, and, well...
Cringe! Oh, he's just so cringe. He uses gamer lingo unironically. He whines like a baby when things don't go his way. He's the kind of guy who would say normie in real life. In front of...
But that's him before he gets becomes an OG, before he's caped up, before he becomes a motherfucking guy.
Don't get mad, I'll take your bitch, nigga.
normies.
But they say defeat is the greatest
Like,
teacher
you guys
of all.
seen him posted
Only
up in
through
the
struggle
chair in the
could
throne,
Shigaraki
like a
manifest
G.
his dark conviction.
Right,
Like,
as
damn,
All
you're
Might's
having
new
the same
protege,
aura as Dr.
Izuku
Doom.
Midoriya, was coming into his own as well.
These
he's really
two
not
rivals,
bitch made no
the
more.
I ain't no fucking bitch, chef. I don't give a fuck.
their master's blood feud would push themselves past their own limitations.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Death Battle really upped their shit, because this should be looking slick.
Especially when All Might and All For One double KO'd each other, leaving Shigaraki to lead the League of Villains all by himself.
And with the stakes higher than ever before, Shigaraki stepped up. He personally battled the monstrous Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight, and conquered other villain
That's
organizations
cap. He
to
was
create
wrestling and shit. They wasn't just boxing for a whole month and a half straight. At least from the anime, they got a little downtime and shit. Like, yeah, he would track them down, but there was downtime.
Paranormal Liberation Front. Thousands of new soldiers for his personal army.
All to impress All For One's personal quack. Dr. Ujiko, who spent months
We're getting
upgrading
too
Shigaraki's
much.
body to make it more like his sensei's. It might have been constant agony, but Shiggy went from Chud to Chad.
Ujiko's experimentation vastly increased Shigaraki's strength, speed, and durability, enough to match and surpass even All Might's absurd power.
Sharing All Might's power between them, Deku and Bakugo were able to punch an
They're giving us
island-sized
way too
hole in
much
a cloud that
exposition,
reached
bro.
2
Get
dozen
down.
miles into the
Before they
sky.
used to be
We've
just straight
calculated that
skills and
before to be
shit.
nearly 80 million megatons of TNT, almost as much as the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
And Shigaraki can now move fast enough that his body produces hypersonic shockwaves and can even catch laser
God
beams.
damn, them motherfuckers
And he's
is
tough
going
enough to
on with
survive
jump.
Star and Stripes Intercontinental Ballistic Cruise Punch. Now the new name for my penis. Move over, gigantic
They really
Omega
made this
Storm.
shit for TikTok
Anyway,
right now,
it also
huh? They
made
got
a
a lot of
blast
moving
so
parts
big it
about
showed up against
colors
the
and
curvature
flashes
of
and
the
whatnot.
Earth.
Though he might seem invincible, when Shigaraki's body is pushed hard enough, he will evolve into a state of uncontrollable power.
So
This-
Decay
honestly,
became
MHA is
shit,
pretty goated.
Warhead.
Besides,
Shigaraki can
like, if you
spontaneously
ignore
generate flesh
the
into
horrible
existence.
fans,
Seemingly
you
oceans
enjoy
of
the
it
fuck
in
out
an
of this shit.
instant.
And ignore the
Whenever he
cringy
wants,
TikTok
he can
shit.
even use it
You
as a
will
type
love
of
it.
armor to defend himself in close combat.
But that's nothing compared to Ujiko's greatest gift. Shigaraki wanted to be the new All for One. So what better way than the old man's quirk?
All for One's quirk, All for One, allows its user to steal and store quirks with just a touch.
And All for One has hundreds of
I
them
just got
stored up.
spoiled.
collected
God damn
over
it.
the
I'm not
years.
that far
Each
along in the
quirk is
goddamn
connected to a
anime.
memory of its user's essence in the form of a spirit, a vestige.
Kinda like a piece of their soul. They exist in this
Fox's
kinda psychic
word,
world
brother?
in Shigaraki's body, and can even act as a spiritual defense should it be invaded.
And with those vestiges came quirks like super fast healing, air blasts, radio waves, flight, telekinesis, teleportation of.
So I'm assuming that's where they chime in with their like he's got soul defense, so then technically he can detect Mahito or whatever.
Others
But we're
the
gonna
ability
see.
to track foes.
He can even combine multiple quirks together, like in this big-ass electric Kamehameha.
However, any vestige stolen or destroyed will also remove that quirk from Shigaraki's repertoire. They're also sentient, and some can even fight for control.
Which is when the second shoe finally dropped. Because Shigaraki also got All for One's vestige, that means All for One was now in possession of a shiny new body that he'd spent the last 15 years molding for him to take over.
Shigaraki's entire existence was planned from the beginning. Why?
some
Because
other shit?
All Might's previous mentor was Nana Shimura, Tanko's grandmother.
Oh, that's a mess with All Might. That is some next-level hating right there.
Okay.
He manipulated Shigaraki's entire life,
weak
all for one purpose. To create a soul so corrupted, it would grind away at All Might's perfect world,
Honestly, it
allowing
just-
All for One to take full
That shit is
control.
But All for One's
I feel like it
possession
just
wasn't
depends.
complete, and Shiggy managed to fight his way.
God damn. Death Battle got good as hell with their little snapshots and whatnot. This shit looks cool, entertaining as hell. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like,
Oh my god, bro, is dick riding all you do?
Back to the top, literally decaying his way through vestiges
That
in
shit
the
looks
process,
cool as hell.
all to fight his rival Deku one last time.
Despite Izuku's best efforts to save him,
putting
Shigaraki
big
was
bucks
too
into this. I'm not
far
gonna stop
gone.
lazy. Fuck
His
you up.
spirit decayed by years of venomous hatred.
And the new symbol of hope defeated the new symbol of fear, burying All for One's grudge for good.
All that Shigaraki asked was to be remembered as the heartless destroyer he was raised to be, and not the broken, angry, crying little boy he really was deep inside.
For just that one moment, though, Shiggy got in Deku the only thing he'd been denied his whole life, the one thing his lifelong nihilistic tantrum was really all about. He got a hero who tried to save him.
that really fucking spoiled the whole fucking anime for me, huh? Fuck your ad.
Which believes in nothing but the law of the jungle.
Well, then you'd have the special grade curse with the patch face, Mahito. Oh, I've had people tell me I've become a human disaster curse when I've had too many mojitos.
Mahito is one of the deadliest beings to ever afflict mankind. He's no mere mortal, though, but a
Unregistered-
cursed
nah, okay.
spirit. Innumerable spirits exist, weaker or stronger depending on the amount of anxieties, jealousies, hatreds, and fears humans feel about them.
Like the fear of locusts, kinda weak. Or the fear of smallpox, getting stronger. Or the fear of fire. Oh, goodbye,
Then what's the
Tokyo.
fear of Mahito?
So it follows that mankind's fear of itself would be extremely powerful. Those negative emotions manifest as Mahito, a being composed of cursed energy.
I didn't know it was like the Chainsaw Man type system where it's like, oh, people are scared of guns, so the gun devil's the most powerful or whatnot.
Nerd alert!
I honestly didn't know that. I thought they just kind of like got whatever power and buffed up however the fuck they wanted to. But that makes sense, shit. Man scared of man, so he was one of the most OP characters, I'm not gonna lie.
It's basically like evil ki. Cursed energy can be used to make spirits way stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human. And it's invisible, making curses like Mahito impossible for the untrained eye to see. Only a life or death situation can galvanize a normal person to see a cursed spirit.
That also makes cursed spirits virtually immune to physical damage. They may be physically present in space, but can only be harmed by attacks that embody spirit matter like cursed energy.
And it doesn't make sense. From everything they broke down for Shigaraki, it seems like jack shit's gonna be able to touch Mahito. In my opinion,
Which makes
like,
curses insanely hard to get rid of, like ghosts, cockroaches, or my ex. That's why you need a jujutsu sorcerer to come in and kaizen
My
the shit
God.
out of them. They call it exorcism, but I like the way I said it
Don't
better.
just walk down has
Curses
to be the
and
best anime
sorcerers have
moment.
battled
in
each
my
other for
opinion, bro.
millennia,
Especially this
waging
ninja
an
shit,
endless
walking
war
down
over the
like
fate
an
of
elite.
humanity. Almost exclusively in Japan, though, for some reason.
But Mahito is special. You see, most curses are basically dumb animals. But Mahito has so much cursed energy that it gave him sentience.
So he was recruited by Kenjaku alongside other special grade disaster curses to wreak havoc upon the world.
Shit, you know, bro, honestly, I might just watch these fights, bro. Them fights, they go crazy.
Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
All the JJK fights go pretty insane, bro. In my opinion, in my personal, humble opinion, I think the fights were better than solo leveling fight.
Erect.
Just because it had a little lore to them, a little background, it just wasn't some random new villain of the week type shit, you know? There's a low level behind them, like we almost lost lives and shit.
They made Mahito their leader.
And even more frightening than intelligence and bloodlust, Mahito possessed philosophy.
Perhaps informed by the tragic meaninglessness
Life has no weight or particular value. Do you understand?
of interhuman conflict, Mahito is an existential nihilist, believing in nothing but his own will to power. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and Mahito is the wolf.
Which also makes him kind of a goofball. If
Toads?
nothing matters, why not have fun with the slaughter? Really get your steps in. He loves to dig around and toy with your emotions like a cartoon character before slitting your throat.
Nah,
Appropriate
this
analogy
motherfucker really a
considering his
joker.
curse technique,
Because when
idle
UGB yelled at him and he was
Using his
like,
cursed energy,
"Stop it!"
Mahito can control
I think that shit's
anyone's
hilarious.
soul with just a touch, including his own. In fact, he's so good at manipulating
I think
his
I'm
own
gonna get
soul
sick, y'all.
that you
Feel it in
can't
my
even
throat.
kill the bastard without directly targeting it.
In
But don't worry,
Jujutsu
I'm not like your
Kaisen, the
mama.
soul
She
and the
be feeling
body
different
share an
shit in her
immutable
throat.
connection. Whatever happens to the former affects the latter.
This lets Mahito squash, stretch, and shape-shift his body into literally anything he wants. Like Play-Doh, he can turn his limbs into blades or clubs, grow wings like a bird or fins like a fish, reform his body around injuries, or even create clones.
Curse users are naturally unharmed by their own ability. Should he touch a human, though, his alterations to their body are instantly fatal.
And since he's attacking your soul, those physical wounds
Told
are
you
gonna be
the
impossible
goat,
to
bro. I'm
heal.
not gonna
Even
lie.
if his alteration isn't directly
Motherfucker
fatal,
clap
the
his
human
cheeks, he
body
goes over
won't
there.
last more than a few
Shit.
moments in a transfigured state.
All that with one touch. God, I thought herpes was bad.
His powers mean Mahito
give
treats
you a little
humans as
backstory, bro.
effectively. Even if his
I'ma
alteration
give
isn't
y'all-
directly fatal,
I'm not
the
gonna-
human body won't last more than a few
I'm not gonna
moments
name
in a
drop,
transfigured
name
state.
drop the
Oh,
homie,
that with
bro.
what?
Alright, right here. So one time, I was up north, rooming with my homies, bro. We had both just finished watching the show. I had watched it the day before. The motherfucker watched it that night. He pulled up after a shower in my room. He's like, bro, did you see that shit? You see blah 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 blah. Woo woo wop wop. You know, like, damn, that shit was cool, dude. he touched up on her face, blah blah. And I was like, bro, I know I was in shock. And me, bro, like it might be weird, bro. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only guy that does this. But a lot of the time I walk around with my hands in my pants like that, you know. And I was just wearing like drawers, like boxers, and I was walking around like that, like talking to him, cause like who gives a fuck. And dude, and I was like, bro, that shit was crazy how it ended. And like without thinking, I take out my hand, and I'm like, dude, when he fucking like he just walked up and grabbed his face, and I take my hand out like not thinking, and I do it to his face. I fucking palm his shit like, and he's like, and I was like, oh shit, and he's like, you're not just fucking touch me. And I was like, what are you talking about? You're not just fucking touch me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you had your fucking hand on your dick, bro. You just touched my face. What the fuck? And he got mad as hell, bro. And I started cracking up, bro. Because I was like, damn, bro. I just killed your ass. Like, damn. Dude, and then I tried to cap. And I was like, bro, I didn't even put it in my... I wasn't even touching nothing. And he's like... motherfucker, I saw you scratching your butt and this and the third. Motherfucker was mad as hell. And he's like, get your ass over here. Motherfucker goes in deep, touches ass crack, you know. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking get you back. And then I run to the restroom, lock myself up, and I'm like, brother, you better get out of my room. I'm sleepy. He did not leave for like a good 30 minutes. I was there on my phone and shit. And I was like, I am not getting touched by old Daddy over here, bro. I personally thought that shit was hilarious.
Touch! God, I thought
but obviously I would, because I'm not the
powers
one that has
mean
dick face
Mahito
now.
treats humans as effectively disposable dolls that he can gleefully experiment on. The more casualties,
Honestly,
the better.
I
Especially
think that was... I'd give that as one of the most, like, imaginative powers, because
if he gets to break
honestly,
your
JJK
spirit
in
first
general
and
got
watch
some
you
imaginative
suffer.
ass shit.
Even more
Some
twisted
frame
is when he
shit,
combines
this body
two
manipulation,
transfigured humans together
the
for soul
gojo, whatever, you
multiplicity.
get closer,
Essentially a
you can't
giant
touch me,
torrent
like,
of body
it's
horror
all pretty
flesh
cool
that he
shit.
repels at an opponent. Yeah.
Mahito is unbelievably creative with his application of idol transfiguration. And despite being
Okay.
a newborn curse, consistently...
So, this part would make sense on why Shigaraki would beat out Mahito's quirk, or whatever the fuck, curse energy or whatever. Because he transfigures humans. And what does Shigaraki do? He deletes them. So technically, his power can't touch him. But we'll
keeps
see.
experienced sorcerers on the back foot.
It helps that he's a quick study who's picked up a number of different curse techniques, like the Black
for real,
Flash.
bro.
By applying
bro.
cursed energy within 1
He's like
microsecond
Neji,
of
bro.
impact with an enemy, space itself will distort, exponentially amplifying its force by a factor of 2.5.
Not only does this hurt like a mother, it restores your curse technique and gets you fully in the zone.
And would require reflexes
That shit was
moving
hard.
nearly 1,000.
That fucking, this shit right here, you know what I'm talking
Technique
about.
and gets you fully
I
in
had
the
that shit in
zone.
my
And
lost
would
year for a
require
little minute,
reflexes
bro. I'm
moving
some
nearly
nerd shit.
1,000
So you're a fucking virgin!
times the speed of sound.
Damn.
It's no surprise then that Mahito also unlocked the pinnacle of sorcerer techniques, the domain expansion.
Oh shit!
Motherfucker, a prodigy out
More
here, bro.
hands! A domain is like a barrier of cursed energy, but if you're caught inside, Mahito can use idol transfiguration instantly without even needing to touch you.
It's called the self-embodiment of perfection, the ultimate expression of Mahito's absolute control over his victim's body and soul.
Technically, with JJK rules, bro, we should already know who wins. I forgot about domain expansion. Activate that shit. Shigaraki's dead. Technically, we already know who wins.
The only time it ever failed was against the student sorcerer and Mahito's archenemy, Yuji Itadori.
Because not only was Yuji a barf-inducing goody little two-shoes who believed in the inalienable rights of all living things, blah, 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 he also had a curse inside of him,
The king of curses, Sukuna.
which meant Mahito's ability affected both souls in Yuji's body. Sukuna didn't like that. No surprise, and kicked Mahito's ass, forcing Patchface to fight with a handicap whenever facing his pink-haired menace.
Yuji's belief in the value of human life flew directly in the face of the world that Mahito knew to be
Bro, I
cruel and
fucking
meaningless.
honestly, bro, the way he clowns Yuji, goated. fuck with it.
So he
like
made
even
his
I've
mission
been
to
like busting
crush
out like a
Yuji's
giggle and
spirit
shit
before
when he's
killing
like
him,
dogging on him.
murdering his friends, defiling their corpses, and brutally battering him before going in for the kill.
And he's got the strength to do it. Mahito's one of the most powerful curses in the world, and his growth is exponential.
Fellow disaster curse Jogo was able to summon a massive meteor capable of reducing the city of Shibuya to ash.
That'd take an energy of over 800 kilotons of TNT.
And Mahito can take as good as he can give, especially when, in the throes of struggle against Yuji, he evolved, unlocking a vastly more powerful form, the instant body of distorted killing.
Complete with armored exoskeleton and arm blades, this was a taste of the almighty curse Mahito was growing into. A true blight on all men.
They do a better job of seeming like their story and their powers like simultaneously. So no matter what, we're gonna get hella exposition with this shit.
It wouldn't last. In a bitter battle of resolve, Yuji won out. In a dog-eat-dog world,
Looked like it was about to end.
all that gleeful nihil.
Y'all ever want to trip out, bro? Don't do drugs, kids. Y'all ever want to trip out, bro? Pop some fungi. Watch Smiling Friends. Trip. Sometimes, honestly, bro, it gets a little scary.
This
Let's get to it.
dead battle.
Okay, they're down on the train station. Home field advantage type. Already they tripping.
I'd heard of a powerful villain stalking these parts. My organization is going to tear this putrid world down around us. We could use a freak of your talents.
Little old me. Do I want to be king of the social rejects? How about I bring them your head instead?
The animation here is kind of weird, if I'm being honest. People were glazing this shit. It's alright, but we just started. Maybe I'm just a hater. It is what it is.
Fine by me. Let's call this your audition, Sickum.
You see, okay, he technically shouldn't have to dodge any of these, bro. Technically, he shouldn't have to dodge any of these. They don't have cursed energy.
Did you actually just see that? God, how lame!
Okay. Because I have seen him take damage. But, like, apparently if it doesn't damage his soul, it shouldn't do nothing to him. So,
I'm extremely confused.
let's just keep watching.
Audition over. Did I get the part?
Is he about to Omni-Man his shit?
Decay! What a rush!
This shit got good, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This shit going crazy now. Big rolling monster? Is this Death Battle or Mappa Studios? God damn! Bro, like he should not be able to touch him, bro.
That all you got? Domain expansion.
shit sounded gay as hell, I'm not gonna lie.
Domain.
What exactly is their budget here, buddy? Also, if he touched on him, he can touch on, like, if they're touching each other, why not? Like,
Expansion.
man, he should be able to manipulate his body off the rip. Oh my god.
I can read your soul. You're just a scared little boy whose daddy is mean and wants to make it everyone else's problem. Grow up.
They're tripping, bro.
My masterpiece.
Man, this is some bullshit!
He's not Sukuna, brother. Like they're calling an ace of spade, bro. They're like, oh, if Yuji, cause he has Sukuna, he can be like, oh, fuck your fucking domain expansion, blah blah blah. Dude, it's cause he has his own domain expansion. Right now, that's some bullshit. Ain't no way All For One could do all that, bro. Like, honest. Okay, all right. Maybe I'm bugging.
I felt your soul too. You only hate humanity because you were born that way. Totally random. I hate them for a reason. You grow up.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. I'm gonna say it straight out. Domain expansion should have took him out. Y'all know this. Y'all know this. Cause the King of Curses, no shit, he can counter his domain expansion. But oh boy right here, like, ain't no fucking way. Like, yes, I get it. Those souls manipulate each other or whatever in the quirk or however the fuck they broke it down. We seen the anime. But you're telling me, Brody right here, the boy that got manipulated by the star-spangled bitch and was able to get his body overtaken by her for a little smidgen of time, can overtake the soul manipulator, bro, the soul snatcher. Like, you're bugging.
Oh, what did I say, Wiz? Like a bitch.
With their complex power sets, this match was a puzzle to figure out, which is why we're breaking it down to 3 categories: physical stats, survivability, and their powers.
So why do physical stats matter if curses can't be hurt with physical shit?
First, let's address one thing. Could Shigaraki even see Mahito? He's an invisible curse after all.
Cursed energy and quirks are notably different.
Make it
and
make
Shigaraki
sense, man.
wouldn't be able to see curses normal. However, even regular humans can spontaneously develop the ability to see curses in life and death scenarios. And with the Surge quirk, Shigaraki would have had no problem tracking it.
So seeing Mahito wouldn't have been an issue. With that out of the way, we can jump into their stats.
This was no contest. Despite the disaster curses being able to destroy entire cities with their cursed energy, Shigaraki scaling to Deku and Bakugo meant he was calculably millions of times stronger.
He was faster too, considering he could react to light beams, while Mahito's Black Flash capped out at nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. Nothing to scoff at, but Shiggy was thousands of times faster. Shigaraki takes stats.
But survivability was a little trickier to figure out.
Yep, in terms of raw durability, Shigaraki was a lot tougher, and his ability to generate new flesh meant that he could heal any wounds he might receive super easy.
However, Mahito is a curse and is immune to the kind
Alright.
of overwhelming physical damage Shigaraki could dish out.
Okay, exactly. Immune to physical damage and shit. The attacks have to directly hurt the soul. Show me a power where they directly hurt the soul.
Not only that, Mahito's regenerative ability via idle transfiguration meant that he'd come back from anything short of spiritual damage.
Considering Mahito's unique curse body, he should actually get the edge in survivability.
Which presents a crucial question. Could Shigaraki even kill a curse like Mahito in the first place?
Or would Mahito's unkillability give him the time he needed to eventually put Shiggy down with Idol Transfiguration?
It all comes down to their powers.
Shigaraki had a lot more variety with all of the crazy quirks All For One had collected over all the years.
Variety doesn't
but
mean
none
jack
that we
shit,
know
though.
of could properly
And
kill a
you can't
curse.
use
That
one to
didn't
take
mean
him down.
Idol Transfiguration was a surefire bet either, though.
Of all things, Shigaraki's vestiges served as a spiritual shield from the effects of Idol Transfiguration. The fact that Mahito could not avoid targeting Sukuna while attacking Yuji meant that he couldn't target specific souls inside a person.
And Shiggy has hundreds of soul-like entities inside of him. Sure, each one down means he loses a quirk, but that's more than enough time to land a single hit with Decay, especially considering how much faster Shiggy is.
And Mahito has no way to defend against Shigaraki's primary quirk. Decay.
Alright, not gonna lie, that kind of makes sense. But wasn't like the whole thing of him taking on trying to manipulate Yuji's soul, like he got Sukuna roped into it. So what's to say if he tries to manipulate Shigaraki so he just doesn't manipulate all of them? Like, yeah, he can cut off each one as they're going. You know what, that might make kind of sense, bro, because can you manipulate the hundreds of souls he has in his body?
A has affected spiritual beings in the past. Again, vestiges. In fact, he was able to damage Deku's vestige and have that damage transferred to the Deku in the real world.
Mahito may be made of spirit energy, but he still has a physical form. In fact, sorcerers that couldn't naturally target the soul were able to fight him on even footing. No reason to think Shiggy wouldn't decay him like everyone else.
Giving Shigaraki the third and final edge. It was a unique duel to the death, but Shigaraki's overwhelming might, unstoppable powers, and deadly decay spelled...
The physical attacks never truly hurt him, though. But that soul thing where they're saying, like, if he touches the soul manipulation and then he cuts off that power or whatever, that does make kind of sense.
The end for the disaster curse.
Nothing else to say. You really gotta hand it to Shigaraki.
The winner is Tomura Shigaraki.
I don't know. They make a valid point, but I'm still sticking with Mahito, bro. You go ahead and let me know what y'all think. That's gonna be it. Peace, y'all.